As you see, every museum has names of every person that did that artwork, but they didn't do that with Indian people. That's how they disregarded them. There was a stereotype that we're vanished Americans. We're gone. There's no more. This is our house on Inspiration Point at the time. This is my sister, oldest sister. She got really tall. My sister Pat, and this is me right here. It was forest everywhere. It was just a lovely place to grow up. Play with sticks and rocks. It makes you very creative. I was influenced by the beauty of the mountains and the skies and all the natural things that are going on here. Well, I just wanted to show this one. This was an image of me. I was in a play when I was in junior high school, and I was the villain. He was Chicano, and I was American Indian, so they made us the villains. They typecast us, and I didn't realize it. Because of how racist they were to me here, Susanville, I was so proud of being Indian. I rode in the parade at 16 years old, and they were harassing me about being Pocahontas. I wore my buckskin, and I was bareback on a horse. I was proud. The government decided to have a relocation act in order for Indians to get off reservations. So I went to San Jose City College. I started taking classes at nighttime. The instructors really liked what I was doing. This one I did, Urban Indian Girls. It's an etching I did when I was in the Bay Area. This is the Golden Gate Bridge. So she has heart-shaped glasses on and wearing their regalia, wearing symbols of that their statement that they're American Indian. So it was because they were so racist to me, I had to have a political edge and information. So I moved back here to be with my mom. Now I live on the Susanville Indian Rancheria. We tease each other. We say, well, we're the better ones. We're on the upper Rancheria, and the lowlifes on the lower Rancheria. They turned it around. What they say about us. I'd learned how to do murals from the Chicano artists in the Bay Area. I started doing work here, started doing work around town. We had a big celebration here when we had the mural dedication. Susie Evans is like the great-grandmother of all the Laurie family. This is what they did. The women, how they survived, they worked for white people. We'd wash their clothes for them and iron them. Women would give the Indian families, fabric or scraps of material or old clothes that they didn't need anymore or want anymore. And so that's how they got shoes too. They never had to go buy shoes. We're descendants of all these people here. And they'd probably really be proud that we're still here if they knew we were still here and we didn't succumb to what was going on here and become a non-Indian. I use my artwork in a beautiful way so that I can bring people into their artwork, but yet I have a message for them. And that message has to do with how I feel our Indian people are being treated.
So this is a painting that Jean did as a student at UC Berkeley in the late 60s. It's called Going Back to the Res. It's actually a painting that the Nevada Museum of Art decided to purchase for our permanent collection. It's a special painting because it really tells the story of Jean's transformation from a young person growing up in rural Susanville to a professional artist who had found herself living in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it is sort of typical of what Jean was making while she was a student at the university. Many of her professors at the time championed European abstraction, European modernism, and what we mean by that are paintings that were more abstract in style. So Jean would go to school, she would go to her classes, and she would paint the backgrounds of her paintings. Very abstract, very formal in their quality. She would get great marks, she would get high grades. Her professors thought highly of her work. And then she would go home and she would put what she calls the real stuff into her canvases and her artworks. And the real stuff to her were depictions of her family members, her elders, her friends, the real life that she recalled growing up in Susanville. It was the things that her professors would have considered folk art. So depicting Native people in the late 1960s in your art kind of forced you to be classified as a folk artist rather than a fine artist.
I finally found some freedom going to Berkeley because we were told to be quiet all the time, not say anything, don't question anything, don't say anything. Berkeley says question authority. Don't just take it as is.
When Jean was at UC Berkeley, she got to know many of the Chicanx artists who were working with the media, print media of posters, screen prints, as well as murals. And a lot of Jean's work from the 1960s and the 70s adopted those media because it was a way of communicating with a much broader public. Jean has always felt that art is not only for one person or not only to be shown in a museum, but that art has the potential to spread a message or to communicate something to a much broader audience. She often talks about how that's not very different than, ancient petroglyphs of her ancestors. Petroglyphs really are a type of mural making. It was a way to communicate.
I love to do paintings, but I want to share my paintings with other people. But then printmaking, at least I have multiples, so I can keep a print for myself and still other people can have them.
But Jean LaMarr really acknowledges that those printmaking media are Eurocentric as well, and so she calls them sometimes elitist art forms. And so she's actually taking those art forms and she's adopting them and she's using them to spread her own message. So in many of Jean's works, she's dealing with legacies of colonialism. And by that, in this particular piece, it's a screen print titled Me y Tu, Me and You. And on the right is a depiction of Ishi, who in popular culture became known as the last California Indian. And on the left is an indigenous person from South America. So you see in this screen print the globe, you see the Americas, and then you see this blood-stained sword with a cross that is separating North and South America. Jean is commenting on the colonial forces forces of Christianity or Catholicism that divided Indigenous people. Following graduation at UC Berkeley, Jean was immediately involved in education. She returned to her community of Susanville, where she was born and raised. And she founded the Native American Graphics Workshop. And that's been an incredibly important part of her career and her life story. The Graphics Workshop is not just her studio, it's a place where she brings young children together, elders together, artists together from all different parts of the United States for workshops and collaboration.
Well, I just want you to watch me while I'm doing this. There's a coating on top.
She just scratches this and pulls hair and like.
Inks don't like weather like this. Doesn't like cold weather. So when you mix some like this and you get a little bit of this, what's it going to turn to?
Green.
Yeah. See, they change colors for you. I use a lot of blue because it seems to make a lot of colors I need mixing up together. Pretty colors.
It's like a rainbow.
Okay, and then you can ink this one up and it'll be interesting on there. Okay, good. Well, okay, I'll get your paper ready. Give her a little rag to wipe her edges. Okay, put it where that square is at. You kind of push it? Yeah, push it slowly. Yeah. Good. Oh, pretty. Oh, that's wild. Ta-da! It looks like the earth and the outer space over here. Oh, your mom don't like that. Well, what I like to do is get down into their spiritual soul. What is the heart of the matter? What is their needs? What do they want? And put it out there aesthetically. And then they can learn how to grow with that. They can grow. Don't be perfectionists because we don't deal with perfection here anymore. We like to mess it all up. They're artists. They have that feeling about the flowers and the land and how beautiful it is. That gives you, that feeling of continuity in yourself. That's awesome. Okay, flip it up and I'll push it out more. Oh, oh, look at those faces. Look, I see faces in there. God, it's almost magical what you do. What in the world did you do? Oh my goodness, that's so neat looking. A lot of Indian kids are afraid to show what they can do because they've been criticized so much. So they're embarrassed about it, kind of shy about it. And I just really have to compliment them a lot to encourage them because it helps them in school. I tell them just ignore everything and do your best, But just get down to that real deep, spiritual, creative part of them. That's what they really need to do. Oh, that was nice. That was nice. I enjoyed what you were
Can't believe
doing.
how tall you are.
Just
In
calm
high
down.
School.
Yeah.
Bring him back again.
Nope.
All right, see you later.
Leave him home.
Come over, kitty. Kitty's scared.
We have to keep the culture going and traditions. And I try to instill pride in these kids that work with me. They have to show pride in being proud of who they are and being proud of being American Indian, being proud of what they can create and what they can do. That's what I want to try to do for them.